This singer was a multi-dimensional musician who rose to prominence as a pop and R&B vocalist in the early to mid-60s when R&B was transitioning into soul, as he composed sophisticated and impassioned songs that showcased his powerful, clear vocals. He was also a successful songwriter and producer, having written songs for artists such as Roberta Flack, Nancy Wilson, Melba Moore, Jimmy Smith, and Lenny Williams. The centerpiece of today's video is all about Gene McDaniels. Before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push the notification bell to be sure you won't miss on any more uploads. Now without further ado, let's cue that intro. Born Eugene Booker McDaniels in Kansas City, Kansas in 1935 and later raised in Omaha, Nebraska, he was the son of a minister. Eugene was an exceptionally clever, sensitive child. He was serious beyond his years as a result of early life traumas and his acute awareness that his skin tone, for some reason, made the world even more dangerous to him. Gospel music and Bible verses dominated his life from an early age, and he idolized the soul stirrers and the Swan Silvertones. He discovered jazz before his teens, just as bebop was gaining popularity, and he grew to appreciate Charlie Parker. And Miles Davis. He always preferred singing, which was understandable given his 4-octave range, but he also learned to play the saxophone and trumpet. McDaniels' first performance group, the Echoes of Joy, later the Sultans, formed when he was 11 and focused only on gospel music. But he eventually began to incorporate mainstream songs into their repertoire. Following a citywide singing competition in which he stood out among his peers, he began to consider a future in music. McDaniels eventually abandoned regular studies in favor of studying at the Omaha Conservatory of Music. He made his professional debut with the Mississippi Piney Woods Singers, and their travels took him to the West Coast, where he began singing jazz as a solo vocalist in his leisure time. Eventually, he started performing alongside his idol, Les McCann, at a club called The Lamp, which didn't last long but gave McDaniels a following large enough to get him discovered by Liberty Records. McDaniels was signed by C.I. Walker and initially worked with producer Felix Slatkin, but their first 2 singles and accompanying album failed to sell well. His big break came when Snuff Garrett took over as producer. Slatkin was a fantastic musician, violinist, and Bud Garrett had an unrivaled ear for sound and melodies, and he was responsible for capturing the song that became McDaniels' first success, 100 Pounds of Clay.
He created a woman and lots.
The singer disliked the tune, saying it was too basic in comparison to the jazz he'd been singing over the past decade, but Garrett's instincts were accurate. The single peaked at number 3 in the spring of 1961 and received a Gold Record Award. While his following single, A Tear, was a small chart smash.
As long as you're in love.
The Tower of Strength peaked at number 5 and won McDaniels another gold record.
Tell you goodbye, I don't want you, I don't need you, I don't love you.
Over the next 3 years, he had frequent chart success and even appeared in a famous jukebox film. It's Trad Dad when he performed another Tear Falls. However, McDaniels' form of soul music decreased in popularity as a result of competition from figures like Otis Redding and Sam and Dave, who had a more raw, less pop-oriented sound. In 1965, he departed Liberty Records and moved on to Columbia and a few other companies. After Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in 1968, McDaniels left the United States. He resided in Denmark and Sweden for the following 3 years, writing all the while. His songwriting was far more sophisticated than his lightweight Liberty material, particularly compared to What, a literate and streetwise political broadside that was a hit for Les McCann and Eddie Harris. It Feel Like Making Love, a sensual soul groove that charted high for Roberta Flack, one of his favorite vocalists. When he returned to America in 1970, he signed with Atlantic Records and continued recording as Eugene McDaniels. His debut album for Atlantic 1970's Outlaw was an ambitious and politically charged effort that combined funk, jazz, and rock with his dramatic vocals. 1971's Headless Heroes of the Apocalypse was even bolder and more outspoken, and a copy reportedly found its way to the White House, where Richard Nixon was shocked by the song's extreme ideology and Spiro Agnew asked Atlantic to suppress the album. McDaniels recorded the album Volume 1 for MGM Records as part of the Universal Jones Group in 1971. It was his final record for a long time, although he continued to work as a songwriter producing records for Gladys Knight and the Pips, The Floaters, Nancy Wilson, Jimmy Smith, and actor Richard Roundtree. Eugene McDaniels' final album, Screams and Whispers, was published on his own Jenna Poole Records label in 2004. McDaniels stated in 2009 that he would release a new album, Evolution's Child, featuring his words as well as many songs produced or arranged with pianist Ted Brancato. McDaniels' Jagger the Dagger appeared on the Tribe Vibe's Breakbeat compilation album after being sampled by a Tribe Called Quest. McDaniels passed peacefully at home on July 29, 2011. He is survived by his third wife and 6 children. Now, before we go, I have a question for you all. What is your favorite song from Gene McDaniels?